Hi, Insta and hi, Facebook. I've coordinated myself so that I'm live in two places at one time. And first of all, I really have to just thank everyone for the amazing response to my post. That was definitely very brave. Um, and there's an interesting story behind it. Yesterday, I put on a pair of jeans for the first time since lockdown. It was freezing cold and I needed to go out. And it's a pair of jeans that I started off not being able to get up over my hips. And then eventually, when I decided to record my weight loss journey, I managed to wiggle into them and not be able to wear them for over a year. And then I could finally wear them. But you know, when you have that pair of jeans and you wear them, but by the end of the day, you just have to get them off, or you know you definitely can't eat a full meal because that button is just not going to make it to do that meal. So that's how those jeans were. And when I put them on yesterday, they fitted so nicely and they are actually looking a little bit big, which was amazing. And I stopped and I really paused for a moment and I was like, you need to right now acknowledge how much you have done and the weight loss that you have gifted yourself with. And the reason why I decided to share it is because I have struggled so much, not as much with the weight loss than with the mindset of what it takes to give yourself permission to lose the weight. And in this journey of me being the transformation coach and really stepping into this space, I wanted to share why I truly feel that now is the perfect time for all of us to be figuring out our stuff and getting to the bottom of why we carry the weight or why we can't commit to our certain things, why we hold on to fear. And at the end of the day, it all links back to the same thing, whether I'm trying to lose weight and someone else is trying to make money and someone else is trying to make some incredible move or let go of an addiction in any way. We all, at the end of the day, struggle with the same thing, and that thing is mindset. So I just want to tell you that I didn't do this on my own. I've been struggling to lose weight. Even in high school, I was completely uncomfortable with my body. I was not one of the cool girls or labeled pretty in any way. When we went out to bars, I wasn't the one who got picked up. And it just kept on making me feel less and less okay with myself. And in that not feeling okay, I completely let myself go. It became irrelevant what I looked like. And I did that for a long time. And it's interesting because the thought of being sick never scared me. It didn't get me to want to lose any more weight. And then I stepped into the public eye in the social media space. And at that time, I had shifted on from having the wellness center and I'd started to let go of some of the things that I knew didn't make me happy, but I still carried a fortune of weight. And to tell you how much I carried and how much I've lost, when I flew on an aeroplane, especially like a South African Airways, not an Emirates where you can stretch out into those comfy seats, but when I sat in one of those tiny little seats on the aeroplane, I would have to ask for an extension of the seatbelt. And if you do not have weight issues, you do not know that in the front of the aeroplane, they keep an extension. So you clip it onto either side. And I carried that much weight. I wore a size 44, so I couldn't buy a pair of jeans from Jet or Edgar's or Mr. Price. I would have to go to a store that catered for bigger women. And my life really started to transition when I stepped into the social media space. And when everyone was just taking photographs of me and putting it up on social media, and I looked absolutely, I really just didn't look like I wanted to be in that space. And it's such a catch-22 situation because I want to be in this space. Through all the years of everything that I've done, and the metaphysics that I've studied and the gift that I know that I have in coaching people and supporting people and teaching people through the process, and even in social media, I just wanted to bring people together and I did really, really well in it. But I came to this crossroads and I had to decide if I was going to spend my life being uncomfortable, so physically uncomfortable in my body, or if I was going to do something about it. And amazingly, that was the time when I started the Project Me blog. And it was Greg and myself who were formulating all this work that we had taken so long to put together, which is the true steps of what the foundation is. And it's what helped me get through to where I am. And what's so important is that in the work that we do, we always say that we help with all the other tools that come along. When you have the foundation, then you can go for any form of therapy, or you can pick up any self-help book, because you're doing the steps. And for me, just to run through the steps, it's so important to be conscious. And in that being conscious, that was why I started to take pictures of the weight that I was carrying. And that's why I stood on the scale and saw these huge big numbers and cried and allowed myself to stand on the scale and make friends with what I looked like then, and buy a pair of jeans that was too small for me in order to know that I wanted to get into them. That was what really being conscious was about. And then from that, it's to actually just tell yourself the flippant truth. And I needed to tell myself the truth. And it's amazing, because I would say to some friends, I'm fat. And then they would say, but you're still beautiful. And even in the post that I did yesterday, the messages have been so incredible. And the consistent message has been, you've always been beautiful. And I'm so grateful, and I thank everyone, and I know that, and I acknowledge that. But at some point, you have to stand in the mirror and you have to say, I can feel that I'm beautiful, but I also have to tell myself the truth that I am fat. And once I started to do that, and then I started to genuinely figure out that the next most important step was to make it about me, I went to different types of therapy. A lot of the metaphysics that I studied and what I gift people with when I do the coaching, and what Greg gifts people with, because he helped me coach myself through this process, is to truly take away all the responsibility of anyone else and let go of the past. And I had to process that. I grew up in a home where my dad just loved food. He absolutely loved food. And there was always an over quantity of food. And then there were weight issues from when we were young. So we were dieting when we were young, and all of those things, trigger everything. And not being part of the cool kids as well really and truly triggered a lot of stuff for me. But I had to stop all of that and make it about me and ask myself what I wanted to do. And that was a big thing for me to do. For me to tell myself that I'm the only one who's carrying the weight. It doesn't matter how it got here. And then I knew that I wanted to lose it. And it was the figuring out of wanting to lose it that was the hardest part for me. Because my story is that I have tried every single diet under the sun. And I know that a lot of you can relate to every single diet under the sun. And when I went to one dietitian, she was amazing. She was special, and she was kind, and she was sweet, and all those things. But she put me on a fat-free diet. And I am deeply holistic. If you've followed me, you know that I have such a connection to the moon and to the ocean. And I'll tell you to drink sage and orange in winter, and it will keep your whole immune system up. And I've got a holistic answer for everything. But she told me that I couldn't have nuts, and I couldn't have avo, and I couldn't have any of those types of fat. But I was allowed to have strawberry pops, and I was allowed to have fat-free milk and fat-free yogurt. And something didn't sit well with me. And in my searching of who I am, and I can just see friends and everyone saying hi. I can see Clarence and Di and Claire and Ange and my mom, and Naz is here. Thank you so much for all of your love and support every step of the way. Each one of you have seen me in different shapes and sizes. And one of the big steps in Lifeology is to do something different, even if it's the tiniest little thing. And I will never forget, I took a Sunday afternoon and I decided to just Google the shit out of dieting, basically. That's what I decided to do. And I Googled and I searched, and a friend of mine gave me a shout and asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, this is what I'm doing. And he said to me, watch that sugar film. It was a little bit hard to find. I had to do some searching to find it, but I found that sugar film. And something triggered within me, and I realized my first to do something different was to quit sugar. But there's something so important in that. I loved soft serve ice cream. I will not say no to a good chocolate brownie. So before I did that, I found a replacement for everything. And now, all the way down the journey, I'm completely plant-based vegan, and I'm going to jump right to what people ask me all the time, because they say to me, but the chocolate that you eat doesn't taste like Cadbury's chocolate, or the ice cream that you eat doesn't taste like soft serve. But the problem was the Cadbury's chocolate was making me fat, and the ice cream was making me fat. So the first thing that I did was I gave myself time to adapt my taste buds. That was what I did differently. I shifted what I knew my taste buds liked and craved, and I started to then reframe everything. And if there was something that I craved and I missed, I would find a replacement for it, slowly, one thing at a time. The only thing that I can honestly say that I feel deprived from sometimes is I really miss having wine gums. Everyone asks me, and I really miss having wine gums. But otherwise, I've managed to find a replacement. And even for the wine gums, I keep frozen fresh dates in the deep freeze. They are so delicious. They are just so delicious. And I just want to say, I'm not coming across. I have no dietitian qualifications at all whatsoever in any space. I've just got these gifts that I gave myself that I know so many of you want. And it starts with the foundation. It starts with me having gone through those steps. And the final step in the foundation is to live within integrity. And this was the hardest thing for me. While I read Di saying that she thinks that this should be my next course and that she'll be my guinea pig, I would love to put something together. Di, we just need to figure out how to do it so I don't come across as a dietitian. But also, that's what the coaching is here for, is this exact process. And the hardest part of this is to stay within integrity. And it's not the integrity outside of who knows you and who can see you. Because when I was growing up, I would sneak eat in the house. So I would slip into the kitchen quietly at night and I would sneak eat. And when I thought no one else was looking, I'd quickly grab a little bit more and try and shove it in my face. And on my worst days now, because I just want to tell you, like, this lockdown has been absolute hell. If you've picked up weight, please just be so gentle with yourself and tell yourself it is really okay. I have been my version of emotionally eating. I've been slowly having to reel myself out of emotionally eating on my level. We've got to be so gentle and kind with ourselves. But to stay within integrity for me was to stop that sneak eating and realize that it was the only person that it was hurting or impacting was me. And I watched the integrity and the relationship that I had with food and the relationship that I had with my body. And that was the biggest shift. But I did it by taking photographs every step of the way and finding a pair of jeans or a top or something that I really and truly loved and I thought was pretty and I wanted to get into. And I weighed myself. I was, in the beginning, I hated it, but I'll tell you why I weighed myself. Because when I turned plant-based vegan, the foundation of your food is potatoes and rice. And I grew up, and still with everything else that's going on around us, like, starch is the devil. I'm just looking at this. Someone said they love dates. Dates are my absolute favorite. I do not need a sweet in my life. I just need dates in the deep freeze. Dates and grapes. So now I just need a moment to think about what I was saying. I lost track with that. So when I went plant-based vegan, and the foundation of what I needed to eat needed to become potatoes and rice, I mistrusted the process so much. And I still tell friends. So like, someone will say, hasn't seen me in ages, and they'll see me and they'll go, you've lost so much weight, you look amazing. And then I say, yes, I live on potatoes and rice. The response is quite frightening. And I had to stand on the scale every day to break the psychological stories that had been repeated and repeated and repeated to me over and over again. Potatoes make you fat. Starch makes you fat. Potatoes with butter and cream makes you fat. Potatoes loaded with, like, absolutely stuffed with mince that you've cooked in oil, and that makes you fat. Pasta, when you add a cheese sauce, makes you fat. But pasta, when you do it absolutely healthy and you explore a plant-based life, and I'm not telling anyone to choose a plant-based lifestyle. I'm telling you that I took the time to figure out what worked for me. I went to that dietitian. That process has worked for a lot of people, but it didn't work for me. And the thing is, to truly lose weight, to absolutely truly lose weight, and know you're not going to put it back on, because the percentage that of people who keep their weight off is something ridiculous. It's 3%, 5%, 8%. It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. And the key to keeping it off is me telling you that I started this journey 10 years ago when Greg and I started Lifeology, and I had to initially start telling myself the truth of what I looked like, and I had to start taking these steps. When Greg and I initially started Lifeology, I was at the fattest I'd ever been. I was in that size 44, and I'm supposed to be in a size 36. I'm now nudging myself into a size 38. But when I was at size 44, all I wanted to do was be a size 42, and I had something to get into. So my message to you is that you can come to me with any type of diet that you think you want to go on. And it's not about the diet, unless you're going to tell me that you're going to choose something that's completely unhealthy for you, and I won't be the one to judge. You need to stand within that integrity and figure that out. It's not about the diet that you choose, as much as allowing yourself to go through the process and make it your own. I had to literally chip away at dinner tables, around glasses of wine with friends of mine, because I realized that drinking alcohol did not help me lose the weight as fast as I would. So I stopped drinking. People have called me boring. People have told me you only live once. Bless my mom. I ordered sushi the other day, and they didn't get the order right, and there was a touch of mayo. And if I had left her for a second, she would have tried to scrape the mayo off the mayonnaise off the sushi to try and veganize it for me. But it doesn't work that way. And it sits so intrinsically within me. But I do want to tell you that I have bad days. I have terribly bad days. And my days are so bad that I know I can tell you the exact shop where you can get a packet of crisps that are completely vegan. They don't have palm oil, because palm oil is where I'm an activist in that space. And they don't have sugar. So technically they should be fine, but they are high in fat. And that's the bottom line. I can tell you about biscuits that you can get at Dis-Chem that are sugar-free, that are completely vegan. But if you eat a packet of those biscuits, there is a huge amount of fat. And on these days, in this lockdown, when it's been crazy, I have been eating stuff like that. And then I have to go back to that step one about being conscious and telling myself the truth. And I have to stand in front of the mirror once again. And the thing with weight loss, and the thing with relationships, and the thing with making money, because it's all the same thing at the end of the day, is you don't get to a goal and stop. You got to keep on going for the rest of your life. You don't meet the person that you want to meet and then stop. You got to put the work and the effort into that relationship for the rest of your life. I'm not going to get into a size 36 pair of jeans and stop. I have got to do this work for the rest of my life. And you've got to get your mindset into that, to know that this is a lifelong journey with you, for you, because of who you ultimately want to be. And I ultimately want to be this woman who is heading into the age of 50, who can show the overweight pictures and can say, you're never too old to do it. You can change your life at any point. I always tell my mom that. I'm such an advocate for that. Mom, it's never too late. I always say it. Louise Hay started dancing when she was in her 70s. We can create and we can change anything. But I do believe that it's so important to understand first and foremost that you have to change the mindset. And the only person who can change it is you. And I spend hours talking to myself. And I have friends who are my accountability people, and I literally phone them and I say, I'm having one of those days where I could just absolutely eat anything. But I've learned that I can eat 10 potatoes in a day and completely indulge, as long as I'm not getting them from a takeaway place, as long as I'm not adding anything unhealthy to them. I have learned. You have got to educate yourself on what works and how you want to eat, and you've got to try and experiment and try and experiment. And then you've got to have someone to hold your hand. You've got to have someone who understands. And it's not always the person who goes, you're beautiful on the inside and you're beautiful on the outside. It's that person who goes, are you doing okay? Because I know that this emotional stuff triggers your eating. Are you okay? So I just want to check if I've missed any. Oh, someone is, Carl Peter, starch is an absolute devil, is where you stopped. So starch is my best friend. Starch is my best friend. I eat white potatoes, people, and I'll eat white rice. I do just want to tell you that. If you want to do any kind of research, this is not me being an activist for plant-based veganism, but it is what I chose and what truly worked for me, and you just got to figure out what worked for you. But I read and I did so much research, and there's something called the starch solution, and that is what actually gave me permission to eat those potatoes and to do all the things that I do with such happiness and with such joy. But I still get triggered, and that's really what I want to leave you with. I'm trying to keep these Monday night chats to 15 minutes. I just want to leave you with this. I get triggered, and when I get triggered, I know exactly what I buy. I buy chocolate and I buy crisps. But what I've learned is I actually just want the taste buds to do what they need to do. So I've swapped the chocolate out now for making myself a hot cup of cocoa with lots of date syrup. And when I want the salty stuff, then I make myself popcorn, and I can make a bowl of popcorn this big with a teaspoon of coconut oil, this tiny little amount, because all I want is for the savory to stick onto the popcorn. And then I put so much salt and vinegar spice on it, you will not believe how much there is. When you put the first piece in your mouth, you cough and you choke. So I've learned, and this isn't even long ago, this is current for me, because as lockdown started and as I had all of these things that were triggering me, and stuff has triggered me, I needed to retrench my staff, and I needed to shut down the one division of the business. And my business partner, who is so incredible, is thousands and thousands of miles away from me, and he's the only one who gets it. And I found comfort again in eating. So literally, and this is why I decided to put it out there now, because I know so many of you are struggling with all this emotional chaos that's going on. I've learned that I just want the sensation of the flavor, and I've learned the better way to get the sensation of the flavor. You either want the sweet or you want the savory, and you can adapt and adjust the way that you have that. So my ultimate message, the bottom line, as I said, dear friends, so supportive of me here, Jules, who's so far away, and I know, Jules, this transformation course is coming. I'm going to send you all information, but you can contact me tomorrow, and transformation coaching can start tomorrow. All you have to do is send me a message and give me a shout. Every single thing that each one of us do, whether it is fixing our weight or our relationship with money or our relationship with our partners or anything, it starts with this mindset of knowing that you have to tell yourself the truth, do something different, and then take some action. Just even if it's a tiny little thing, just do something different. So that's my That's my gift to you. Once again, I do want to say, my Facebook people, my Instagram people, I've just started a tiny new little community on TikTok, and everyone's loving the cat way more than they're loving me. But my people who are here, I am so grateful for your love and your support and your encouragement every single day. I am transforming my life every single day because of the messages that I get. Joe, you were amazing online. Please come back online. Tell us these stories. Share with us. So my gift to you is because of the gift that you've given me. So I love you all madly. I am so grateful. All that you have to do is just stay in touch with me. You can just email me, send me a message, email me, and we'll chat. There's many things that I want to do. I'm really excited. Some online courses are going live really soon. My transformation coaching is happening. It's waiting for you. I've got special prices during COVID-19. My numerology readings, if you need anything like that, and group work, it's all coming. Just reach out to me and say to me, Joe, I need you, and I will hold your hand and we will get through this process together, because every single one of us does have the ability to transform. I love you lots.